Hey everyone, Danny Hauger here. Hope you're having a fantastic January, all of my inspiring teachers friends out there. Today we have a very special treat from San Diego Christian College. The Dean and Chair of the Education Department, Dr. Lori Ague, is here. What a different perspective to talk higher ed in this exciting episode. And what about you? Have you been thinking about getting your master's degree online? San Diego Christian College was a great place for me to do it in a year. Learned so much from my fantastic professors. Felt like a more accomplished, more reason and evidence and research-based educator afterwards as a result. I got 50 episodes on it, actually. If you go take a look. I vlogged the entire process, start to finish. And if you've been thinking about your master's, or just wonder what the value of it is and how to increase your educational mindset as a teacher, this is the episode for you. This is it. Dr. Lori Ague is going to be a fantastic resource, so enjoy that. And I want to thank my friends at ampeduplearning.com for supporting us each week. Use promo code HaugerHistory10. They have so many resources from math to social studies to language arts, English and literature and science and more. And at ampeduplearning.com, use the promo code HaugerHistory10. Save yourself 10% off your order. And hey, check out my stuff while you're there, including... That's a melodica, but this is actually the book, Broadcaster Secrets to Teaching. It's full of so many ideas that I've learned from my transition in radio to and then transitioning to teaching and so many things in between. Check that out and all the resources at ampeduplearning.com. Now here's today's Inspiring Teachers with Dr. Lori Ague from San Diego Christian College. Let's roll it. Dr. Lori Ague is joining me via the wonders of the internet. Dr. Lori, thank you for joining me today.
It's my pleasure. I'm glad I could be here.
Thank you very much. And you gave us all a very warm welcome to the course. I really enjoyed your introduction that you shared with everybody, and I can put that on the screen for people to see later on. You've come in quite a journey in education that's spanned decades. I know when I interview someone, we don't really talk. I was going to say, we don't really talk age too much, kind of leave that to the guests to share what they would like, but it's spanned through many universities, and you're currently the Dean for Adult and Professional Studies at San Diego Christian College. And I didn't know I was being taught by the Dean, and that's such a wonderful thing of being part of a small university that really focuses on getting great instruction to the students. So could you tell me a little bit more about your journey and how you came to San Diego Christian College for our audience and for all of our benefit?
Sure. Actually, I always like to tell this story. My mom always says that I sent her off to college or off to school and she never came back. I went off to kindergarten and did, the elementary school, went to high school, went to college, met my husband. Ended up graduating with my education degree, and then ended up in the K-12 world. I loved that world. 8th grade was my all-time favorite until I got to adults. Then
I enjoyed that too.
Yeah, I love 8th grade. I always said 8th grade was like it was a new day every day. You'd walk into the classroom and they were playing with their Tonka toys and their Barbie dolls, and the next day was, I'm an adult, do you mind? And it was just a lot of fun to be with 8th graders. But somewhere along the journey, I ended up being in a lot of administrative duties in the K-12 environment, and that kind of led me towards college. So after getting my master's degree in there somewhere, I went off, and my first experience in higher ed was I was an education professor. I was in a department, and basically I was teaching teachers how to be a teacher, which I enjoyed, and I loved that a lot. Again, I found myself into a lot of administrative roles and committee work, and everybody encouraged me in that area. So I kind of left the classroom full time again and then went into administrative roles. My first administrative role, I guess, was I worked with adult students going back to get their college education. And then that kind of took me into this path of working on what I was called the non-traditional side of the house. And but trying to inspire those adults who took a different pathway versus that they did all of it normal, and trying to just really encourage them to say, okay, if this is a passion, if this is where you want to go, then let's figure it out and help you get there. And so for the past 12 years, we've been in San Diego, and who wouldn't want to live in San Diego? And working at San Diego Christian, and working with our non-traditional learners, our adult learners, our online learners, developing those programs in a variety of ways so that we can help them, as I say, find their passion and pursue it.
Great. That's really wonderful. There's a lot to unpack in there and a lot to enjoy. And it's interesting that it's non-traditional from the sense of how long universities and degrees have been attained, but it's becoming more and more commonplace. And I think that
Totally agree.
it's really neat. In the show that me and my co-host, I should say my co-host and I, given that we're in an educational setting, Tavis Beam and I, we started the show Inspiring Teachers on YouTube and on iTunes and speaking to people from all over the country. And about 50% of them, roughly, started knowing they wanted to be in education and went to their undergrad and got their credential in order. And about 50% found their passion for it later or had life sweep them into a role where they considered education. So I like that you can work with both sides here. And one of the neat things about San Diego's program is when you had people introduce themselves. And I had no idea. You can look at a picture of someone, the little avatar that people post, not get a lot of their story, but you do get it when they share it themselves. And the first few people that posted mentioned 20 years in education or 30 years in education or 5, like myself. And it's also interesting to see the variety of opinions, ideas, backgrounds, and how our story matters so much to us that we share. I wonder how much you value that in San Diego's online program.
Well, and it's interesting. I've been actually out of the classroom for a while, just went back into teaching this last couple years, and totally inspired by my students. I mean, their stories are incredible. We have some amazing teachers out there doing incredible work, and I am inspired. You guys inspire me as much as I hope I inspire you. But I think one of the things that, actually, I'll just use a story. There was a group that I started with I think it was like in April, May timeframe, and they just finished their action research projects. And I want to say we finished probably at a 75% rate, maybe a little bit higher. So that was good. But what really is exciting to me is they know each other intimately now by being with each other in each one of their courses. And in fact, the other day, one of them emailed frantically saying, I think I missed the deadline for graduation. I have to be there. You have to help me get there. They are all encouraging everybody to show up for graduation, and they've never physically met each other face to face, but through the online experience, they know each other intimately. And so while it is an electronic pathway, it still is a connecting place where people can get to know each other. They know each other intimately. They know how they process their research project. They ask them good questions. So I don't know. It's great. I love it.
I really enjoy it too. And particularly some of the advantageous portions that San Diego Christian College has that's unique are the kind of things that we share with each other, where we are sharing ideas and philosophies and we're sharing research and theory. We're also sharing a bit of that caring side, that personal side. And part of that is the Christian aspects of the program coming through, but part of that is just the welcoming nature of the program. And I'll give you another example in that I can find plenty of pluses and of each, the physical meeting of the class and also the online portion. What I think is really neat that I don't know if it gets talked about a lot, when you plan your words out in writing and then hit a submit button, you've filtered, you've maybe adjusted a few times, and also nobody's really dominating the conversation. So everyone's been in a classroom or taught in a classroom where 1 or 2 students will participate in every question that's ever asked till the end of time, which is great, and we'll love those students, but it sometimes can discourage other people in the room from speaking. So given that we're all required to speak, participate, respond, it's a little bit more democratic in a sense that it's everyone's got a chance and is maybe sharing a higher quality of caliber of thinking. And that's something that I hadn't really reflected on until I sat in front of the camera and discussed it for the first time that I feel like is really special. Are there some other things that you think are unique and advantageous to the San Diego Christian College Masters of Arts in Teaching program?
Well, I describe it like this. I say no one can hide in the online classroom.
True.
You brought up some great points that, that domineering spirit inside of that face-to-face, sometimes it's threatening, sometimes it's intimidating, sometimes it's just, I don't even want to be a part of that, whatever the motivation is.
Right.
But in the online classroom, I just say nobody can hide. You have to share your opinion. And I do appreciate sometimes, especially when you have that process thinker, where they can really process it at a different level and the depth of the conversation is really rich. And so then you really have to think, wow, I never thought of that. And you may miss that in the regular classroom. that's not to say I don't like that classroom either, but
Of course.
that has a lot of advantages.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that from my own standpoint, I guess is what I would say, is that when you integrate truth of Scripture, I think that's an added benefit. It's not that it. I would say that it is a distinction of ours, but it is an added benefit when you add that layer into the classroom and you see that student and you're motivated in a different pathway than just that their brain. Actually, I had a former situation. I was involved in I guess you would call it an educational network. And I was at a conference and we were talking about education and all the things you talk about. And there was a person that was there and said, I only care about, and they drew a line underneath their neck and they said, here up. I cannot do that. I have to have the whole person, because the whole person is how we were designed, how we were created. And the mind is important, but so is the soul. So is the physical being. So is the spiritual being. And it all integrates together. So I think that's an added benefit for us.
I agree. And I also think that with the relationships that you grow as you read more and more responses, and it's kind of fun now. I love the work that you allow people to work ahead as long as they come back and be part of the discussions. We're all responsible for that. But what I really like is now as people are writing in week 2, that you get a sense of who they are as a person. Their personalities comes out in when you think, oh, yeah, I could see where they would have said this again, or where would they come from this in this perspective. And what's neat about that is there's a minimum amount of words that were required. You might as well, though, after a couple of weeks, toss it out, because everyone's going above and beyond because they want to. They are in a deeper conversation and having deeper relationships. So I would say for the prospective student who might be watching and considering programs, that it becomes an asset, like a magnet that you become pulled in, and it doesn't become a requirement that's a burden. It becomes something to look forward to, because the students who have read the same things as you can share and enrich the way that you thought, or give you a different aspect, because like you said, we're all individuals, and it enriches the whole environment. So that, I think, is really well said and important to speak to. I wonder, as students come into your class and as they finish terms and leave your classes, what's something that you hope that they have learned from your course and that you hope you've imparted to them, besides the research and the curriculum that we explore through the Ed 601 class?
Well, I guess, at the end of the day, it matters that we impact the world for Christ. I mean, that's where, our whole college, if you walked into the building or if you looked on the website, I'm sure you saw it, Truth, Purpose, Impact. And it really is about taking what we know inside of our hearts and our minds and finding that purpose that we have, and then going making an impact. And it might be a daily impact. It might be, a long-term impact, but that you're making an impact. And there are so many people out there, so many students that need to, in fact, we're studying about it. We're those image bearers. There are so many students that we may be the only thing that gives them hope today. Mm-hmm. What a powerful ability to have an impact into that little child's life, that they may see themselves in a totally different perspective and all that God created them to be. And so at the end of the day, I just sum it up with impact.
That's great. It means a lot. It says a lot. And so does the interactions inside the program. It also shows a lot that you are willing to come on and talk to a student about the program. And there may be a lot of prospective students watching. Is there anything that you would like to tell them about why they should consider San Diego Christian College and go to sdcc.edu and find out more? And maybe what you think some of the main differences are. You just mentioned a big one right there. That you would like to share with them and for everyone to know who might be browsing the website and browsing other websites? What would you want them to know?
Well, and at the end of the day, I get paid to say these things, but at the end of the day, I think our students say it too. We have amazing students that are out there doing a great job. But honestly, we are looking at that whole person when you're coming in. We're not just, you're not a number. By the end of this time, I will know you as a person. I have many interactions with my students, but that's a norm. That's not the abnorm. If a student walks into our campus, in fact, actually, if you remember, I invited you all to the 5K. We want you to be a part of our community, whether you're online or whether you're in Timbuktu, to be honest with you. But it is about that you're a person and that we understand that God created you. We want to support you to find all that is so that you go out there and make that impact. And I think you will truly, truly see that from the time you enter through the admissions process all the way till you graduate. And then even as an alum, coming back and sharing those stories and letting us rejoice with you and having those conversations. That's what we are.
That's great. And thank you for sharing that sentiment and everything you shared with us today. I can vouch that even in a few weeks so far, I've spread more positivity in my classroom, looked at more positive news to start current events in my high school classrooms. Show them the good so that they can be that good. And I think a lot of that is a distincting factor of this program. So I thank you so much for joining us. Maybe we can talk again towards the end of the term and discuss some of the things that I've learned and maybe the final project. And I thank you so much, Dr. Lori, for joining us today and for being such a big part of San Diego Christian College's program. Thank you for being with us.
Thanks, Danny. It was great to be there.
All right. Well, thank you all for watching as well. This ends the second week of our vlog experience. Check in with me next week as I discuss some of the things that I've learned so far and share some of the ways that I've incorporated that into my classroom. For now, like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next edition. And don't forget, Inspiring Teachers brings new episodes every Tuesday. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you next week. Class is dismissed.